and I work for an organization called World Youth Alliance. I'm also a member of Working Group on Girls. The World Youth Alliance is a global coalition of young people who are wanting to promote the dignity of the human person and to promote solidarity among youth between developed and developing countries. In addition to our offices here in New York City, we also have offices in the Philippines, in Kenya, in Mexico, and also in Belgium. I'm excited today to introduce Ms. Luisa Carrillo, also a representative of the World Youth Alliance, who is here to share her perspective on girls' rights in Mexico. Please welcome Luisa.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Luisa Carrillo, and I stand before you in an attempt to speak of a subject that is not something that I have experienced, but that exists in my country, Mexico, today. I'm a lucky individual. I have the privilege of growing up in an environment that has given me food, clean water, shelter, great education, and a supporting family. This is not the case of every single girl in Mexico, and this is certainly not the case of every single girl in the world. 20,000 girls are victims of sexual exploitation every year in Mexico. Please remember that as I mentioned these statistics, this is based on what has only been accounted for. What about the poor inaccessible areas? 2 million of girls go to work every day to sustain their families, to educate themselves, or simply slave under one individual who forces them to beg, work on the streets, and sell products, whose profit goes back to their owner, and they themselves do not see a penny of their hard-earned money. So, what are the problems that girls face in Mexico? First, violence. Second, discrimination. Third, violence, health. Fourth, lack of education. Physical and psychological violence has lasting effects on a human person. Effects not only include physical scars, but also psychological damage, such as feeling of shame, phobia, anger, depression, and suicide. Every day, 5 women die to some kind of violence in my country. 20,000 girls are sexually exploited every year, and in 7 of 10 cases of relationships between young people, we find violence against women. How can we prevent violence? My response to this could be endless, but if I summarize in a nutshell, we, together, in solidarity, can prevent violence. There needs to be a fundamental understanding of the dignity of the human person, in this case, the girl. In addition, institutions must promote and protect the same through strict policy that helps girls flourish in society and create a culture that embraces gender equality. Further, recommendations include providing services that help reintegrate victims of violence into society and also punish perpetrators of the crime according to the rule of law. Extreme disparity of treatment leads to discrimination. This inequality is manifested first in the family. For instance, when a man presumes that a role of a woman consists of staying in the house, taking care of his children, and ensuring completion of domestic chores for generation after generation, and gives himself the responsibility to go out and fend for the family, roles are assumed, but not necessarily agreed upon by all involved. This assumption is not confined to men, but sad to say, society as a whole. This has a negative impact on society, which includes a few job opportunities for women, decreased social development, and lack of upward mobility into the workplace. Unfortunately, 60% of the homes in Mexico are supported by women, most of them single mothers, who did not have the opportunity to finish primary school. To prior economic downturn, women, therefore, enter in a vicious cycle where they are unable to go to school, or if they go to school, once they get married, they have to stay home. If they stay at home, they miss out the job market, and then, if they are later forced to go back home when it happened economic loss, divorce, they are unable to have equal access and opportunities to jobs. Woman recalls to humankind its humanity in a profound recognition of the dignity of each person. Woman is the architect of authentic peace from the most basic cell of society to the highest levels of policy and decision making, constructing conditions in which persons are given the chance to live in accordance with their dignity. Therefore, society, government, and organizations must promote equal opportunities for men and women through strict policy and legislation, and promote a culture that encourages opportunities for girls. Another issue is the lack of specific healthcare programs to address the true needs of girls, such as affordable medication insurance, prevention of female disease, malnutrition. There is an immediate need for the government to set aside funds to create healthcare programs for girls. Helping girls combat malnutrition is extremely important for their physical and mental development, since 3 out of every 4 girls who live in poor families in Mexico are malnourished. With girls receiving proper help, they will be able to better function in society. Moving forward, girls will be able to educate themselves and find a job in which they will be able to function in a healthy way. The talents of a girl foster and preserve the beauty of each culture. When girls exercise a key role in building, deciding, and protecting societies, their participation enriches and sustains the culture from themselves, their family and community, and for all generations to follow. Lastly, but the most importantly, I believe that giving every girl a good education will empower her and thus allow her to eliminate all stereotypes and gender inequalities. Policies must be implemented by the government and followed by all to ensure that every girl has an equal access to school and university. All political, social, and economic barriers that prevent girls from receiving the right to be educated must be removed. We must remember that education is not a privilege, it's a right. I would like to conclude by saying that there is no doubt that we have been important advances in my country and all over the world to help girls prosper. But I know that there is much work that still needs to be done. No violence should be tolerated. No forms of discrimination should be acceptable. Education must be provided to every single girl. Health is the key for a human being's survival, and government must ensure that it is provided to all the girls. Through family, girls experience their dignity, receive the first primary education, and are protected from dangers such as trafficking and crime. If we don't protect our girls, we are in turn risking the development of the generations to come as girls have a unique way of loving and to the gift of oneself to others. Girls create a culture of life that is instrumental to society's well-being. Lastly, let's remind ourselves that girls are human beings. Human beings have inherent dignity, and no person or institution can take away this in strict words. Thank you.